What's good with you, man? This is Algernon Hall, aka the Dream Catcher, your dream coach, man. And you know what I'm about to say. I'm ecstatic because this is episode 15. 15 weeks we've been knocking them down consistently, and there's absolutely nothing that's going to stop us. We're pursuing our dream, and we're just pursuing it, man, with passion, with vigor. And I'm excited, man, because last week I received a lot of awesome testimonies, some great comments, people reaching out, talking about how inspired they are. Some people are doing extremely well in their businesses. Some people have just, their confidence level has just risen. And other people, they're just getting back on course with pursuing their dreams. And it's powerful and it's encouraging to know. So I thank you for those comments. I thank you for the encouragement. Then last week we just wrapped up a powerful series as well, the Powerful You series, and it was 3 parts to this series, if you recall. And we talked about our gifts, our talents, and our abilities, but what we also just dove into and got an understanding that everything that we think about, every thought, every vision, every idea, every dream is responsible for everything that we can possibly imagine and lay our eyes on. The automobiles, our clothing, books, these started from somebody's dream, man, and people just really just activated those dreams, and just the power of that. We just began to really dive into and understand how significant it is for us to have confidence in our gifts, our talents, and our abilities. So this week, as I was really just trying to focus on what the topic was going to be, I really didn't know. It was a couple of directions I was going to go, but what just started to just stand out to me was resolutions, New Year's resolutions to be exact. And as I started to study and kind of dive in and try to look into New Year's resolutions, there was 3 facts that jumped out at me that was alarming. The first fact was it said that 25% of individuals that set New Year's resolutions, they abandon their resolutions by week 1. After week 1, they abandon, they give up. That's crazy. I was like, wow. Then the next alarming statistic was it said that 65% of individuals that set New Year's resolutions abandon them after 6 months. That's crazy. So what is that saying? That's saying that there's many people out there that's giving up on their dreams, they're giving up on their visions. And I'm gonna be honest, there's a lot of resolutions that I've set in the past, in 2015, and the prior years that I have not accomplished. And I mean, if you're honest with yourself, you can honestly say that there's some resolutions that you haven't met. So looking at that analogy, it just really just kind of opened my eyes. But what was alarming, not really alarming, but it was just fascinating to me, was there was a study that was done with New Year's resolutions versus setting goals, people that set goals. And there's a Dr. Gail Matthews. She's a psychology professor out at Dominican University in California. And Dr. Matthews conducted a study that just blew me away. This study, she took 267 people, she conducted this study, and what the study showed that 47% of those individuals were more likely to achieve their goals for the simple principle of writing them down. 47%. So that means you increase your percentage, your probability of achieving your goals by 47% by simply writing them down. So that set the foundation for what we're going to talk about this week. Write it and make it plain. What do you mean write it, make it plain? Write the vision down and make it plain. Write the dream down and make it plain to you. And it's a bestseller. There's a New York bestseller, a world bestseller that says, write the vision, make it plain so others can see it and run with it. I mean, you ask any CEO, ask any team member, any employee in a corporate structure in an organization, and they'll tell you there's a vision and a mission statement. It's something that clearly defines the goals, their beliefs, the core values of that organization. It's written in plain so everybody's on one accord. You ask any coach, any player, when they write up plays, and tonight we watched Villanova beat North Carolina. I mean, it was it was an incredible championship game. It's going to go down in history, but if you recall, with 4.4 seconds left, when the game was tied and both coaches was on the sideline, they were drawing up plays. You saw Jay Wright writing up that play for the players, and when they came out of that timeout, they knew what they had to do, they knew where they was going to go and where they were supposed to be, and they won a national championship. No different. Write it and make it plain so that everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. And what writing it down does is, it activates your reality. So that's point number 1. Activate your reality. Activate your reality by writing it down and committing to your mind, to your heart, to your spirit, what it is that you really, really want to do. Activate your reality. And what brings to mind is, it was a video, an interview with Oprah Winfrey. She was conducting this interview with Jim Carrey years ago. And in 1997, Jim was struggling. He was a struggling actor trying to make his way into Hollywood. And he had some directors and some producers that was interested in him. But the bottom line is he didn't break through and get his opportunity. So this man had such a strong belief in himself, but what he did was he identified and he discovered something so powerful. He understood the power of writing it and making it plain. What did he write? He wrote a check to himself in 1987 for $10 million for rendered services. What he did was he post-dated that check for 1995. He wrote this thing 2 days before Thanksgiving. He gave himself a 3 to 5 year time frame. And do you know that 2 days before Thanksgiving in 1995, he landed his first big movie deal. That was with Dumb and Dumber. That landed him $10 million. He wrote it and he made it plain. I'm telling you, there's power in writing it and making it plain. There's power in putting something out in the universe. There's power in it and making a commitment to your mind, your spirit, and your heart. There's power in that. And I can relate to that personally, because I remember when I discovered that I was an entrepreneur and I had a gifting for entrepreneurship, there was a lot of things I dabbled in for the wrong reasons. I dabbled in some ventures because it was going to make money. I didn't do well in it because that wasn't my lane. I dabbled in some other ventures because other people were doing it. Didn't do well in it because that wasn't my lane. But the moment I sat down, prayed, meditated, got up early, and got clarity and direction on what I was supposed to be doing with God, from God, I started to write things down. The whole concept of Jubilee Children's Entertainment came like a light bulb. So I wrote down what the character was supposed to be like, something different. I wrote down the audience, the target audience, even the business plan. I wrote it down. I wrote down where the actual program was going to be perfected at. And do you know, everything that I wrote down came to pass? I mean, there was people coming out of woodwork just willing to help because the vision, they saw the vision, they understood the vision, they fell in line with the vision, they loved the vision, and they wanted to be a part of it. They wanted to do whatever they could to help get that vision alive. I mean, it's a powerful principle. Write it and make it plain. The second thing that we want to do is we need clarity. We need to establish clarity. And by writing it down, it gives you clarity on the direction you're supposed to be going and what you need to be doing. I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot of things that we're doing too much of stuff. Like, we're working on one project, but we're working on this other project. We're working on this project, whatever. And what we're doing is we're losing focus on what we're supposed to be focusing on. So what writing it down does is it keeps you honest. It holds yourself accountable in what you're doing. If you're over here, you can look at that vision, look at what you wrote down, and it'll tell you that you're not supposed to be over here. If you're over here with the wrong set of people or doing the wrong things and it's taking you away from this right here, I mean, you cannot be able to identify it because you have it written down. If you recall on week 1, on January 1st, what we did is we wrote down what our dreams were. And we said that we were going to put it in our coat pocket, we was going to put it in our pocketbook, put it in our wallets, put it on our mirror. But if we wrote that down, that's something that we can look at daily, that we're committed to, that will give us clarity and direction on where we need to go. So that's going to be the 2 points today. And this is probably going to be a 3-part series because there's a lot for us to discuss. So the recap is going to be this. What you need to do is you need to activate your reality. What do you want your reality to be? And once you discover it, once you determine it, you need to write it down and make it plain. And number 2, establish clarity. You need focus. You need clear direction on the direction that you're going. Your dreams need it. Your visions need it. It's vital for it to be awakened. So we can do this, man. So I'm excited. I'm excited about what's happening, and I'm excited about part 2. So please join me next week. Thank you so much for tuning in this week for episode 15. Write it and make it plain. Come back next week, man, for part 2. Man, have a phenomenal day. No, have an extraordinary day on purpose. Man, man, let's awaken our dreams and just change the world. Peace.